Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm back here at the front of house desk at the gathering place, and I'm gonna show you how I have our ATEM Mini set up to record and live stream our services. So we use the ATEM Mini as our main hub to bring in our cameras and our feed from ProPresenter. We have two of the BlackMagic Pocket Cinema 4Ks, one that's at front of house that gets our wide shot and our main shot that we use most of the time. And then we do have another alternative shot that is stage right of the room that is getting another shot if we ever want to use it. But for the most part, we use the main shot that just one shot is going out, but we're capturing everything. So we use the ATEM Mini to capture. And so I'm going to talk about kind of how we have this set up and what I do to make everything work the way that we need it to. So right here is our ATEM Mini. I'm hoping that you can see that right here. Right here is our ATEM Mini. Right in front of it, I have another MacBook Air. It's another M2 MacBook Air that we use here for a couple different things on it, but all related to our video recording. So our MacBook Air is right here. We have a TV that's right here that we have our multi-view on, so we can see all the different cameras and things like that. Well, the two cameras right now. And then this all sits right here in this little zone. And really, we don't do a whole lot with it. We have it just set here and it is plug and play and ready to go. If we look at the ATEM Mini here, there's a few different cables coming in. This first one here is coming off of our M32. We have a bus mix that we are doing a mix from the board as a bus, stereo bus out. That this is coming off of dual XLR to an 1/8 inch cable, and it comes into mic 1 here. How we mix our setup on the M32 to come out to that is a different conversation that maybe I'll make a video for in the future. Camera 1 right here is our main camera that's right here at front of house. Camera 2 is the one that's stage right over on the side, capturing our second view. Camera 3 is nothing. And then camera 4 is coming from our ProPresenter computer. So the way that we have all this run, we have HDMIs coming out of the cameras and out of the computers that they all hit BlackMagic HDMI to SDI converters and send into this. So this is sending SDI into this ATEM Mini. That's all it takes. We then have two other SDIs coming out here. One is going to this feed right here for our multi-view, and one goes out programmed so that we can send. We've got a couple TVs in our main lobby. We also have another one in a secondary lobby that we have that those feeds go out over SDI. We are hitting a SDI splitter and sending out to those locations so they get the same camera feed and everything else that's coming in and audio played out onto the TVs in the lobbies as well. In this USB slot here, this USB-C slot can be used for a couple things. You can actually use the ATEM Mini as a web camera on your computer, so you can output this to your computer over USB-C and use this as a web camera. But what we're actually using it for is we have a SanDisk hard drive connected to it so that we can record. We also have a Cat6 cable coming into this, so this connects to the network for both internet as well as networking to the computer. And then obviously here's the power. So that's all that's coming off of this board right here. On our computer that's up here, and I have this recording as well, I have a couple things up on this at all times. Number one, obviously, is the ATEM software control. This is the easiest place to do a lot of the settings that I'm about to talk about. So this is always up on the computer so we can track stuff and make sure it's doing what we want to. But obviously we can do our switching from here if we want. There's a lot that you can do just from this keypad, but it's easier to work for on here. The other thing that's normally up on this computer is obviously I have Safari open, and I'll normally be logged into our YouTube page so that we can go live, and we're logged in here so that we can monitor the service on this computer as well. So this is pulled up with all of our information. It live streams to our YouTube page right here. I generally have it going out private so that then I can set it later. We're not distinctly live streaming, but I do go ahead and let it go up to that page so it's less work for me to do later and I can just go back and pop this up to public once I've checked it and make sure that it's all there. But we can send it public at any time if we so choose. So I have Safari up with our YouTube page so we can monitor the live stream. The other thing that this computer does is we have GarageBand open. I've created a template for our recording, and we do a multi-track recording from the M32. I have a USB coming into this computer that is connected to the USB on the M32. And so we have all of the inputs that we just record every single track from here. And I will save that to another hard drive that I have here. These two hard drives will go home with me each week so that if I do need to do anything, if anything did screw up with the live stream, or even before we were pushing the live stream out, I have these recordings so I could go back and do a good mix before I got the mix settled over here. But these hard drives go home with me. One has the recording from the ATEM Mini, and we record all of the cameras independently. So the two cameras and ProPresenter all get recorded separately, as well as the program feed gets recorded as well, all onto this hard drive. And then on this hard drive, I save the multi-track recording from GarageBand, because GarageBand is free and it was right there and usable. And then I will pop that into Logic and do a mix down in Logic if I need to, just because Logic is more robust. But GarageBand is already on your computer, so you have the opportunity to do a multi-track recording like this directly into GarageBand. It's free in the App Store if it's not already loaded on your laptop, and it's free software for Apple products. So I use that. So those are the three things that are running on this computer. The only one that's really pulling any CPU power is actually the GarageBand recording, because the live stream is actually happening out of the ATEM Mini directly. I am sending our feed out of here, not sending from here to the computer and then that out. So none of the CPU processing is being used for the live stream and for Safari to be up. And it's not really using any for having ATEM software control up either. So really, the only thing that this computer is really functionally doing is recording the entire service, and then the ATEM Mini is handling the rest of everything else. So I've shown you what's all connected into this. So let me real quick show you kind of how some of the setups work. The first thing, obviously, I've got camera 1 on. That's the one that we're running most all the time. And then I have our mic 1 turned on. You need to remember to turn on the microphones that you're using. If those are off, you won't receive the signal. All of these cameras do also bring in their own audio as well. So we could turn on the audio that the camera itself is capturing, but that's just room noise and room fill. So we have that coming in. Make sure to turn on mic 1 or mic 2, whichever one you happen to have your feed plugged into. The other really important thing that I'm doing is obviously our ProPresenter is sending its feed over. Now, because I only have so many channels on this, I do not have this set up so that it's doing what I would call proper keying, where you're sending your key and your fill, and those come over 2 different lines out of that system and then are properly set up here. I'm doing basically Luma keying. So out of ProPresenter, all of our lower thirds also have a very bright lime green color behind them for all the area that we want to take out and show the live feed behind. So I need to make sure that my keying is turned on here, and then we're going to go on the computer and I'll show you how I have that set up over here. So if we go into our palettes, I'm using upstream key 1, and I've got a chroma key set up, and I'm calling the fill source Pro P here. I've got a chroma key that I'm doing out of the upstream keyer, and then I go in and I selected the color from the screen to pull. So anything that is this color is being removed and that camera feed is showing behind. And that's what's happening on our live stream. So I need to make sure that key always stays on. That's always on, which basically means that my ProPresenter feed is technically always over top of my camera feed. It's always there. And then I have it set up in ProPresenter to go between different things. So if it's that it's like it's a background for a worship song and it's up on the screens, well, I don't need that background over here. I just need my lower thirds, and I have that all set up with my looks over there, which I've done a video on before, so you can check that video out on how I create those looks up here in the corner, but all of that's set up over there. And so with the ATEM, so that no one ever has to mess with this, my key, my images from ProPresenter are technically always on screen. But because of how I have this set up, it's keying out that green, and sometimes it's only just sending what I have set up as blank as my audience look on ProPresenter. All it's doing is sending green. So it's not getting any of that information over here, but then the lower thirds or my graphics for the message and things like that will pop up where they need to. So that's all set to send from ProPresenter. And then I just make sure that I've set up my chroma key over here within the software. And then I've got this key on all of the time. So then that's running just like that. I never have to touch it, and that's running properly. And then from there, it's recording and it is streaming out. So right here on top of the ATEM Mini, once we're ready to start service, normally about 5 minutes before service actually starts, when our countdown is running, I will hit the record button there. I will go in and I will hit record on our GarageBand multi-track recording so that all those channels get recording there. And then once I'm ready, I'll hit on air. It'll start showing here. So I can actually show you this right now. I've got this set up as a test and private. So all I have to do is hit on air, and you see on our screen here, it's now broadcasting. It says we're on air here. There's about a 10 to 15 second lag. So now I'm gonna go over into YouTube, and now it is picking up. And right now I just have the main Mac computer screen over there. I don't even have ProPresenter open, but you can see that it is starting to stream out here, and I can see from this window my settings, and I can look at my stream health, and everything is running. And also on my multi-view over here, it shows me the data rates and that my on air is running and okay. And if I hit record, it would show me that as well. So I'm doing that all from right here between the computer and this little unit. We basically got everything running. So then once we finish our service and let it run for a couple minutes afterwards, I'll hit end stream and go ahead and end it there. And we can dismiss that. And then once I've ended the stream on there, then I'll hit off on the board here so it stops sending the feed out, and we're back and good to go. So that's how we do our live streaming and our recording here. Record our services fully to these hard drives. This SanDisk here directly off of the ATEM Mini is getting our program feed along with each individual camera and ProPresenter recorded separately as well. All are getting recorded on there. And then on this hard drive is recording our GarageBand session, which is a multi-track recording directly off of our M32 that then I can go and mix down and do anything that I need to. So it's a pretty simple setup here. Like I said, we do have 2 cameras, but most of the time we're just let the one just run because we're not trying to do anything fancy right now. If at some point in time we choose to add more cameras and be a little bit more interactive with our live stream and actually go like fully live where people can watch that right in the moment, then maybe we'll add more cameras. This only allows us to add one more to it. That's one of the downfalls of the ATEM Mini. You only have 4 inputs on this. But it works for what we're needing to do, and probably works for a smaller church that yours might be as well, to have 1, 2, 3 cameras in, and then your ProPresenter feed. And really the ProPresenter feed and setting that all up and getting that all working properly is the most complicated part. Everything else is pretty plug and play. You plug things in, you hit the buttons, and you're good to go. But getting those feeds in can be the most complicated, so I may touch on another video a little bit more deeply on that. But like I said, you can go back and watch the video about how I have that set up in ProPresenter so that it goes out appropriately, and then I got to make some tweaks within the software here to make sure that we are going out properly and that my keying is always running properly. And then if I needed to, I didn't get into a whole lot of the other functions on the ATEM Mini because I'm not really using them, and I don't think that most people necessarily need to use a ton of them. It's a really simple setup. It's relatively inexpensive. The ATEM Mini is a pretty inexpensive box. I don't know the current price of it. It's popping up on screen right now. Pretty inexpensive. The BlackMagic Pocket Cinema cameras are really powerful and also really inexpensive for the type of camera they are. Obviously, you don't have PTZ control over them, but you could get something like a Bez Core unit, which I'll link down below, that could give you some more PTZ type control with a camera like this, that you could have a control here, and that we could have another control up there and be able to actually control those if we wanted to. It might be fun to have a GoPro at your drum kit so that you can take another shot back that way that you want to add in. But I don't have a person running this section right now. This is set here. My audio guy or myself tends to come in and make sure we hit record and make sure we hit on air so everything is running. And then we let it do its thing, and then we come in and we turn it off. We monitor it because it's right here. He can monitor that everything is working properly if he needs to, or if he needs to troubleshoot something, he can. But I don't have somebody operating the station, so this is a really quick way to make this all in one and do what it needs to do and not have to worry about it. It's kind of plug and play. So I hope that was helpful. If you've got any questions, drop them below in the comments below. Do all the things that YouTube tells you to do, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.